Talking away and I was muted, sorry. I just wanted to say hello, and it's great to see everyone here again. We have Jack, Inexplicable Susan, and Kay, and I don't recall as having technical difficulties, and then her laptop decided to do updates, so we know how fun that can be. So tonight, kind of gonna do just a little bit different. We're doing Sherry Ellis's preliminary transcript reading, and also her trial transcript reading. The preliminary is only like 24 pages long, and her trial transcript is, I think, 35 pages long or something. So they're fairly short, and I think it'll be a good way to help you to be able to really make some pretty instantaneously or more instant comparisons there, for between the two. The preliminary trial, I think, was, I don't remember exactly. I want to say it was in August of 2015, and the trial was in November, began in November of 2015. So not a huge time lapse between the two different testimonies. So there's Sherry. There's Sherry.
Hello.
Did you get all updated?
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything the first time, so.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's all fixed.
Hey, Sherry.
Hello, Jack. Hello, Kay and Susan and Rhonda.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, and Sherry, I was, now that you're here, will you be able to read the part of the court? Or if
Sure.
not, that's okay, I can, okay. All right. Okay, well, in the interest of trying to not go incredibly long, next week we're going to read Kim Davis's testimony as to Sherry Ellis. So hers is, I think hers is going to be like something like 85 pages long. So it's going to be, well, I guess in between the two tonight and hers, about the same time probably. But I want to try my best as hard as we can to keep these a little bit shorter when possible.
85 minutes is roughly an hour and a half.
Okay. Well, good. Okay. You mean 85 pages?
Yeah, I realized I said minutes, so that was
Okay,
sounded
well,
pretty stupid.
You're fine. No, it didn't. You're fine. I just was clarifying.
Yeah, 85 pages is roughly an hour and a half.
Right. Okay, cool. All right. So again, hello to everybody on the panel. Thank you for your help tonight, and hello to everybody in chat. If I didn't get your name posted up on the screen, I'll try to get to it as we go along reading this evening. Please put questions and comments in the chat, and I'll try to keep up with them the best I can while I'm scrolling. Okay, so we are ready to go. And here we go with the transcript of Sherry Ellis in her preliminary hearing. Sherry, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. Sherry's going to read the part for the court, just the shorter parts, not the recessed parts and stuff like that. So anytime you're ready, Sherry.
Okay. Have a seat there in the witness chair, ma'am. Sit where you can be comfortable facing out toward the lectern in the middle of the room. Mr. Giger is going to set the microphone for you. When you're comfortable and ready, would you please tell me your name?
Is that me? I'm sorry.
Yes, line 11.
Oh, Sherry Ellis.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Giger, you may inquire.
May I have just a moment, Judge?
You may, sir.
Is that for your
I'm
dog?
Sherry
sorry.
Ellis was called. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, we don't have to read that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Miss Ellis. Give me just a second. I'm trying to get organized. All right, ma'am. If you would, I'd like you to turn your attention, if I can, back to the month of May of 2014. Early morning hours, one day around 7th of May. Do you remember that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Back then, ma'am, is there someone you were living with back then, or did you have a roommate or a friend or anything like that?
Yeah, I was living with my common law husband, Terry Mack.
Terry Mack. Okay. And where? Well, I don't want to know the exact address, but I want to know the part of town where you were living.
On the east side?
Northeast side.
Yes.
Okay. Give me some cross streets that are close by.
16th Street, Martin Luther King, and Miramar.
All right. Was there a night, ma'am, back in May of 2014 where you came in contact with a police officer and then some unusual things happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about, if you remember, what time of day it was or what were you doing?
It was before 12 o'clock, a little bit before 12 o'clock, and I was leaving my house to go to my cousin's house because I go to my cousin's to visit her. She stays at 22nd Street and Highland, and I was walking down Highland to go to her house, and the police stopped me, and he asked me what my name was.
What did you tell him?
I told him my name, and he had me in the back of the police car, and he run a check on me, and he found out that I had warrants, and he asked me, he got out of the police car and opened the door. He asked me what was we gonna do about the situation.
Okay, Miss Ellis, I want you to take your time for a minute, okay?
Okay. Well, I can't figure it out. I might have to come over to your place again.
Approach, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Hang on.
Hang on just a second. When this officer first came in contact with you, ma'am, you were just walking down the street?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and had you been stopped by police officers in that part of town?
Not since, not for a long time.
Not for a long time. Okay. Whenever he stopped you, you said he ran you for warrants. Did he search you or did he do anything with you? Just tell me exactly what you can remember about, well, just at that point, what was going on.
He asked me if I had anything on because I had my purse on me at the time. And he said, "Do I have anything on me?" And I said, "No." And he said, "I'm going to search you." So he told me to turn around toward the police car and put my hands on the police car. And he went up under my shirt and felt like that. And then he went inside my pants and felt down there and told me to get back in the police car.
Okay. Well, when he touched you in that way, ma'am, did you feel like he was being inappropriate the way he was searching you, or did you feel like it was an appropriate kind of a search?
I knew it wasn't supposed to happen like that.
Okay. Well, did his hand touch your skin, or did his hand stay on the outside of your clothing or your underwear?
No, it was under my clothes.
Under your clothes. Did you have on underwear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, what kind of underwear did you have on? I'm sorry. Did you have a bra on? Let me ask it that way.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you have panties on?
Uh-huh.
Oh, when he touched you,
Okay,
I'm
Carol.
sorry, I didn't get that answer,
I'll
counsel.
talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
did he touch you underneath your bra or on top of your bra?
Underneath.
What about your panties? Underneath your panties or on top of your panties?
Underneath.
Underneath. Okay. And that was just as you were standing outside the police car?
Yes, sir.
Is it dark? It's dark outside. I'm assuming you told me the time of day, right?
Yes, it was dark.
Was anyone around that you could see?
No, I couldn't. Wasn't nobody around.
Okay. Well, at some point, did he put you inside the police car? Did you get inside the police car?
Yes, I got inside the police car
Okay. Front seat or back seat?
in the back.
How did that happen? Tell me about that.
After he said that he was going to check and see if I had anything, he told me to have a seat in the back seat of the police car.
Okay. And when he ran you, do you know if you had any warrants or anything?
Yeah, I told him. I told him I had warrants. I told him that I had city warrants, city tickets, because I had recently got out of the penitentiary in July, and I was paying my court fees up here, and I didn't have any county warrants. But I told him that I had city warrants, so he verified that. I had city warrants.
Did he ask you anything about prostitution, if you remember?
Nope, he didn't.
You don't remember that? All right. Well, did he say something about the warrants once you said either I have them or he had learned that you did have them?
Yes, he did.
Tell me about that conversation.
He said, well, after he found out I had warrants, he got out the police car and opened the back door where I was. And he said, what do you think we want to do about this, Ms. Ellis? And I said, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And he repeated it again. And then when I looked toward him, and he had pulled his penis out and had it in my face.
Okay. Well, do you know, ma'am, about how his pants were whenever his penis was exposed? Uh, were they still up? Were they down? Or do you have any recollection of how they were?
They were still up. He just unzipped his pants.
Pulled it out his zipper?
Yes.
And that's what you remember?
Yes.
Okay. Well, ma'am, are you still sitting inside the police car at this point?
Yes, sir.
Are your feet inside the car or outside the car, or do you know?
My feet was outside. Outside.
Well, so your
Like when you're getting out the car.
feet are on the ground, but you're still sitting on the seat inside.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When he exposed his penis like that to you, that was in context of him saying, "What are we gonna do about this, Miss Ellis?"
I think so.
Had he said that before or after, or do you remember?
He said that before it happened.
Okay. And then was it shortly thereafter he exposed his penis to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you think you had to do?
Because he had put it in my mouth. Put it in my mouth.
Well, if you didn't do that, what did you think was going to happen to you?
Should have went to jail.
Did you put it in your mouth?
Yeah.
Do you know about,
I didn't know what was going to happen.
how long that lasted, ma'am? How long? Short time? Long time? Do you have any recollection?
Short.
Short time? Okay. Did he ejaculate in your mouth, or do you know? Do
No,
you
he
know?
didn't.
What the
Yes.
do you know? I don't know. Sorry.
No, he didn't.
Okay. At some point, it stopped.
Duh. Yes.
Okay. What happened whenever he removed it from your mouth?
He said, okay. And he said, put your feet back in the car, and then close the police car door, and he got in the driver's side. And then he drove off it was another street.
Ma'am, you're still in the police car?
Yeah, still in the police car.
All right. So, and let me ask, do you remember where you were whenever he picked you up and put you inside the police car? Can you give me the street location that you were at?
Yeah, I had just went across 16th, and I was on Highland.
16th and Highland on the northeast side?
Yes.
Okay. And were you still at that same location near 16th and Highland whenever he put his penis in your mouth?
Yes, sir.
But then after that, he starts driving with you in the car?
Yeah, he told me to get back in the police car, and there's a street that's like a half a block from where he stopped me the first time, and we turned right into the park.
Down to the park?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that park, or what you know about that park.
He jumped. He ran over the curb to the park and drove through the park, and there is a building a little ways around the park, and he pulled behind that. He pulled around behind the building.
Okay. Give me just 1 second, okay? Approach, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Am I up to number 4, Judge?
You have 3 so far, sir.
All right. Thank you. Miss Ellis, I'm going to show you what I've marked as states 4 and 5 and ask if you can recognize these aerial photographs of the location. Is that the park you're talking about?
Yes.
And then number 5 is a little closer up view of that. Is that right?
Yes.
There's also a rather large building that's visible in them. Do you know what that building is?
That's a school.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me a little bit about that school. Is that school open or closed, or do you know?
It's closed.
Do you even know what school it is, the name of it?
I forgot. I don't remember.
Okay. But it's a closed down, abandoned school, is that right?
Yes.
Do states 4 and 5 show the area that the officer, well, first of all, jumped the curb in states 4 and drove and then ended up parking in states 5? Do they show those locations?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge, I'm going to show it to you now, but I may need them back just so you can stay with us.
Well, I'm not going to look at them until they're in evidence.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I did offer 4 and 5, your judge.
No objection, Your Honor.
States 4 and states 5 are admitted without objection.
Let's get oriented, Your Honor. I may have some more questions for her. Ma'am, first of all, I want to look at state's exhibit number 4, which is a little bit further away. Am I pointing at the park? Is that the park?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said he hopped the curb. There's a dead end street, it looks like, and then there's a little sidewalk that goes to the park. Do you know where I'm talking about?
Excuse me a second. What line is it?
Line 13.
Uh-huh.
Is that where he hopped the curb?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I go to states number 5, that's just a close up of that same area. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you show me and can you point for the judge where it is that he drove you and took you?
Right here.
Okay, so he drove through the field this way and then parked over on this side to the right of this. Looks like a tan walled building with a flat roof. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Looks like there's some trees there where
There was, yeah, it was a whole bunch of trees. It was trees growed up next to it.
it was kind of overgrown.
Witness nods.
Did he park in between the building and those trees?
Yes.
Okay. Whenever he drove you to that location, ma'am, can you tell me a little bit about what happened next, please? What did he do?
When I got to the side of the building, he told me. He opened the door and told me to get out. When he told me to get out, he told me to pull my pants down, and he stuck it in.
Whenever you pulled your pants down, ma'am, were you still standing beside the car?
Yeah, I was standing up. I was facing. He was in the back.
So you were facing the police car
Yes.
and he was behind you and you yourself actually pulled your pants down. Is that what I understand?
Yes, he told me to pull my pants down.
Okay. Uh, Did you stay standing up or did you change positions in any way?
Gosh, I stayed standing up.
Because it's real easy to put
How
your
does that
penis
happen?
in the vagina from behind when you're standing up. Because that's
Right.
always super easy, especially when the officer's a foot taller. Okay, whatever.
Huh.
Jesus. I lost my place.
I'm four.
Okay, and you said he put it in, but he put it in your vagina?
Yes.
Okay, he put his penis in your vagina from behind.
Yes, sir.
About how long did that last, ma'am?
Maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
Do you know if he ejaculated?
I don't know.
During this time period, ma'am, was he saying anything to you or were you saying anything to him?
I didn't say anything.
Do you know if he said anything to you?
Witness shakes head.
Okay. Why did you allow him to do that?
Because I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, he's a police. I didn't know. I was very scared. I had never had nothing happen to me like that before.
When he did stop, ma'am, you were still standing outside the police car. When it stopped, you were still outside the police car. Is that fair? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when he stopped, did you say anything to him or did he say anything to you?
No, he said that I was free to go.
Okay. Do you remember anything else he said?
That's it.
Did he leave at that point?
I left.
You left.
I took off walking.
Okay. Which way did you go?
I went around between the school and the tan building. I went back to my house.
Back to the east?
Yeah.
Excuse me, back to the west, is that right? She just agreed with anything.
Jeez. Yeah, I went back to my, yeah.
Back to my
Uh,
east west. Okay. When you got home, ma'am, you said that at that time you were staying with a man named Terry, is that right?
yes.
Okay. Did you tell Terry about it?
Yes, I told him as soon as I got in.
Okay. And did you tell him that this officer actually raped you?
Yes, I did.
What did he have any advice for you?
Well, he told me to go to the hospital and get a rape kit. But during the time that I was messing with Terry, me and Terry was having problems because he had had a stroke and we wasn't intimate like we were. So I had been messing with my boyfriend that I had, besides Terry. Had a boyfriend that I had been messing with for 6 months.
Okay, by messing with, do you mean you were having sexual relations?
Yes, I was having sexual relations with him for about 6 months.
Okay. Ma'am, let me see if I can help you a little bit. Had you been with your boyfriend before earlier that night?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so when Terry suggested you go to have a rape exam, did you tell him that it's not
I had told him that I had had sex with my boyfriend, and that's when things hit the fan with me and him. So,
he didn't like that, did he?
uh, we're not together anymore.
Did you break up that night because of that?
Well, no, not really. I kept on. I stayed with him for a while longer, but after that, we broke up.
You broke up. Okay. Which, tell me your boyfriend's first name, please.
Edwin,
Edwin. Okay. Ma'am, do you know if, well, first of all, the area for the purposes of our record of 16th and Highland, and then also the location of that school, do you know if that's in Oklahoma County or not?
yes,
It's in Oklahoma City, right?
yes.
And do you know if it's in Oklahoma County?
For fuck's sake, yes.
Okay,
Good
finally,
God.
ma'am. Yeah, no. Duh. Finally, I want to ask you about whether or not you recognize the police officer who did those things to you. Are is that individual in the courtroom? Do you see him in the courtroom? And take a minute and look around.
It was dark, and I really didn't. It was dark. It was really dark. I didn't really know.
Okay, and I understand that. Okay. I just want to be real sure that do you think you could identify him if you saw him?
No, because it was dark.
Okay. Do you
Jesus
remember
Christ.
whenever you spoke with Detective Davis about this happening once you finally did report it, or whether when Detective Davis found you? Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember telling Detective Davis what race you thought the man was?
Yes.
What race do you think he was?
I thought he was black
This is such
Okay.
bullshit.
Why do you think he was black?
because
Or let me ask, do you still think he's black or do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. Why do you think Why did you think he was black whenever you told Detective Davis?
Because it was dark. And it was dark and he looked like a darker his skin was dark tone.
Were you afraid?
Yeah, I was very afraid.
Have you had a chance to see everybody that's in this room to look at them? I know you've been looking at me, but I want you to take a minute and I want you to look around and see if anybody in this courtroom resembles the person that you think did that, okay? And you can stand up. You can stand up if you need to, just whatever. Just, can you see everyone in the room? Does anybody look familiar to you, ma'am? Don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Pass the witness.
Cross-examine.
Dear God, before I start,
Ugh,
Yes.
I
so
don't know.
clear. Well, I mean, it's just so far at this point, we've not heard Detective Davis's interview. Does it get played during trial?
I don't believe so.
I don't think interviews got played during trial. Can you think of one that did, Sherry?
No, off the top of my head, no. But I haven't. It's been a while.
It's such a
I sure
huge
do
gap.
recall in her interview how confident she was when she said
That's-
he was a black man.
Short black man.
It was
Darker
a
than
black
me.
man.
Yep, she said it more than once. She told her on the phone and then in person
But now she don't know because she can't identify him.
because it was
Hey,
so dark.
It
'Cause
was
it's so-
dark. That makes people look like short black men.
Right.
Right, like there was absolutely no light, no ambient light around in a city, Oklahoma City. Come on. I mean, and there's no dome light in the car. Come on, please.
Short, black, and blonde. Don't forget that.
That's right, blonde hair. That's right, Sheree. All right. Okay, here we go. Miss Ellis,
I
you
mean,
test,
let me ask.
Oh.
Can I ask this question?
please.
I mean, personally, I haven't ever slept with a black man, but I would imagine their penis kind of matches their other skin.
I would imagine.
Well, just based strictly on the fact that my baby brother was adopted and he is black, I can tell you that his skin on his penis matched the skin color of the skin on the rest of his body. That's just my experience.
I mean, she had this penis in her face, right?
Right. But it was so dark she couldn't see. Must have been at the event or horizon of a black hole, so all light is pulled in and there's no color or anything. It's ridiculous.
Man, here's the problem. You know, if she really was assaulted by a black officer, now she's being led to make the location at this other location that it couldn't have happened if it was a black officer. It's not going to happen at the exact place where Daniel stopped her.
Nope.
Right.
The exact place where his car turned and drove through the schoolyard.
Nope.
Right.
I mean, there's obvious feeding the witnesses phrases.
Training. Yeah.
Well, and he started right out of the gate at the beginning, leading her. He was literally telling her what to say, as he normally does. Gigger.
Testifies for them. Also, I had put it in the chat a little bit back, but when she testified that he had touched her underneath her clothes, underneath her vagina and her breasts, that she absolutely did not say that in her interview with Kim Davis, and I put that in the video that I kind of made to go along with it, that she was saying it was on the outside of her clothes. And so she just straight up lied. But okay, anyway, carry on.
We'll see if it changes in her trial testimony.
Trial.
All righty. We ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Miss Ellis, you've testified that this event happened back in May of 2014, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you would agree with me that you're a multiple time convicted felon.
No, I'm not.
You've been to prison.
One time.
You also have a prostitution conviction.
Yeah, back in 90-something, one time.
And assault and battery with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, self-defense.
Okay. And you say that this event happened to you in May of 2012, but the first time, you got that date wrong, but the first time you ever talked to anyone from law enforcement was in August of, I'm sorry, you testified that it was May of 2014. It's when this event supposedly happened. The first time you ever talked to law enforcement about it was in August of 2014.
Yes, sir.
And you didn't go to them. They actually came to you.
Yes, sir.
And they told you they had a tip that you were assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer.
Yes, sir.
I wonder where that tip came from. And that's when you told them what you testified to here today, correct?
Yes, sir.
But when you were asked to identify prior to talking to the Oklahoma City detectives in August of 2014, had you read anything in the newspapers or seen anything on the news media about this case?
Nope.
Whenever you were asked to identify the officer that did these things to you that you've testified to here today, you described him as a black male, correct?
Yes, I did.
You also said that he was shorter than you.
Yeah.
Yes? And how tall are you?
5'11".
Now, you've also testified that immediately after the event of May 2014, that when you got home, you told Terry Mack what had happened.
Yes, I did.
And Mr. Mack told you that you need to report it to the police and go to the hospital.
Yes, he did.
And you didn't do that.
Nope, I didn't.
Now, you currently have some warrants out for your arrest, correct?
City warrants. Yes, I do.
Has the DA's office helped you on those cases?
No, I haven't asked him. I haven't asked him to help me in any kind of way. I was trying to do it myself. I'm going to school trying to do it myself.
So, do you currently have warrants out for your arrest?
City warrants.
Yes.
Yes, sir, probably so. I was in the penitentiary when they issued the warrants. I haven't ever had a chance to go to court on them.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Let me just say really quick, she had been in the penitentiary a year before when, and so when she says that she hadn't had a chance to go to court on them, we're talking about a whole year or more later now.
She wouldn't
Yeah.
lie, Rhonda. Come on, she wouldn't lie.
I mean, it just, that doesn't pass the smell test. But
Yeah, she got out of prison in July of 2013.
Jesus Christ. I didn't just to go to the sea, take care of this. Okay.
I just got out.
yeah, it's the way she makes it sound. She makes it sound like it had just happened and it was a whole year before. So I think that's a little significant.
It looks like what Giger says here in just a second is going to be really interesting.
Did Sherry already read that?
No, she's not yet. At the top of the page.
Read
Bottom
it.
one.
No questions, Judge.
Miss Ellis, that is all the questions we're going to ask you, ma'am. You can push that microphone aside and step down, and you're free to leave.
Your Honor, in regards to Miss Ellis's testimony, I understand at this point that there may be additional evidence needed, like in regard to identification. But I think at this point, just so we're stay together, I would ask for leave to amend the information to add 2 counts.
You got them on here?
Count 33, Your Honor.
Just a moment. Let me get to that page if I could.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. I thought you said go ahead.
No, I've got them marked on my flow sheet.
Thank you, Judge. Tell me when you're ready.
All right, I'm ready.
Judge, count 33 would read, give me just a moment, Judge. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I do it right. On the 7th day of May, 2014, the crime of sexual battery was committed against, to be consistent with our information, would be the initials SE. Your Honor, the pros of that requested count would be very similar to count 1, which alleges sexual battery by this defendant touching the bare breasts of, in this case, it would be SE. And I would ask leave to amend that based upon the evidence that Miss Ellis was able to present. Similarly, Your Honor, I would ask for leave to amend to add a count 34, also alleging sexual battery, again on the 7th day of May, 2014, with this defendant touching the vagina or the vaginal area of Sherry Ellis, to be consistent with the testimony that she proffered at this point. Again, understanding that identification, additional evidence may be needed in order for the court to make that determination.
Those counts are consistent with the evidence, responsive to the evidence, and will be allowed. State may, of course, amend to add those counts subject to sufficient
God.
evidence to support them.
Hang on a second.
Pisses me off so bad.
It's such bullshit. She couldn't even identify him.
Mm-mm.
And she changes her story here.
Yes,
what
she
had
did.
told them previously. It's why they didn't.
That's right.
Jack, you forgot to question her on that. Why did she change it?
I know.
Yeah.
And that's why they're amending the counts, because previously in her interviews, nope, just on the outside of my clothes. It's sickening. It's just sickening.
And she actually said there was nothing unusual about that search. You know, I mean, it was just a normal pat down.
Yeah.
So that's basically the end of it, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. I wanted to show the, I wanted to show the amended charges that they added to him. You know, 2 more sexual battery charges right there in the middle of the damn. Anyway, so okay, so that's preliminary. And we will head now to the trial transcript if everyone's ready. And
is that a 24-page document?
This the first one was, yes. Well, it was a little less than 25. Actually.
The other one's 35.
Yeah, it should be about 35.
Okay, great. Got it.
Give me just 1 second. I'm not quite. I need to put my other glasses. I need to put my other glasses on because I'm blind as a damn bat with these.
And then we can start with line 14 in this one. But I think Miss McConnell called her, but I'm pretty sure it was Gigger that did the direct examination. Okay. So, Kat's dropping some links in the chat. Thank you so much. And
actually, it's Miss McConnell.
Huh? Well, yeah, she called her, but I thought I could be wrong. I guess I thought.
If you look under direct examination.
Okay. All right.
It says by Ms. McConnell.
Then Kay's going to read for Ms. McConnell, if that's fine.
That's all right. State call Sherry Ellis.
All right, ma'am, if you would step around here in front of me. All right, if you'll have a seat over here in this chair, once you get situated, pull that microphone right around in front of you. If you would state your name and spell it for us, please.
My name is Sherry Ellis, Sherryyellis.
All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Ellis, I want to draw your attention to August of 2014. Back on August 1st of 2014, did you receive a phone call from an Oklahoma City police detective?
I just want to ask a question here. How much later is this? That prelim was, when was that? As opposed to the trial?
I believe the prelim was in August of 2014, but I'm not 100% certain.
That would have been too soon because he wasn't even arrested until the end of August.
I meant 2015. 2015. I think it was August 2015.
I was going to say.
Yeah, sorry. It was just a few months before the trial began, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Pretty.
I need to check that. That doesn't sound right to me. But
okay, I could be wrong. For sure.
I mean, I could be wrong as well, but it just doesn't seem like it was that close. And I don't have my transcript printout over here where I pinned in by this big dog.
I closed mine.
Okay, where are we?
Sorry. Line 7 or line 10, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, wait, is that you? Hang on. Oh my God.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And is that Detective Kim Davis who's sitting at this table here?
Yes, ma'am.
Object to the form, Your Honor. Leading.
All right, sustained.
What detective contacted you?
Kim Davis.
Is she sitting in this courtroom at this table?
Yes, she is.
When she contacted you on the phone, did she ask you a question?
Yes, she did.
And after she asked you that question, did you later meet with her in person?
Yes, I did.
Was that just a couple days later on August 5th, 2014?
I don't recall, but it was a couple of days. Maybe so.
And when you went to meet with her, what did you go to meet with her about?
About a police officer that did some things to me.
And whenever that police officer did those things to you, I want to talk about that time period, okay, Miss Ellis?
Okay.
Where were you living at that time?
I was living at 16th and Terrace, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
And did you live alone or with someone?
I was living with Terry Mack.
And who was Terry Mack to you?
He was my boyfriend at the time.
Was it just one day that you came into contact with this police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, tell me where you were and how you came into contact with the officer.
I was on my way to my cousin's house. She lives on Highland. And I usually walk from where I used to stay on 16th Terrace to down Highland because she lived off of Highland and 22nd and Highland. So I was walking.
So you were walking actually on Highland Street.
Yes, I was.
What happened next?
I was walking and the police stopped me, come from behind and put his lights on me and stopped me and got out the car.
Was this officer alone in his police cart?
Yes.
And were you walking by yourself down Highland or were you with anyone else?
No, I was walking by myself.
What happened after the police officer got out of the car?
He asked me what my name was, and he asked me if I had anything illegal on me.
What did you tell him?
I told him no.
And then what did this officer do?
He asked me to turn around, put my hands on the car, and he started to search.
Okay, and when you said he asked you to turn around, did he ask you to turn around and face the patrol car?
Yes,
And where did you put your hands on the patrol car? Or did you?
I don't recall.
You said he asked if he could search you. Did you respond to him verbally?
Did I do what?
Did you respond to him whenever he asked if he could search you?
Yeah,
Okay, and what did you do next?
I said yes.
Okay, and tell me about the officer's actions in searching you.
When he searched me, he went up under my shirt and was just feeling up underneath my breasts.
With his hands?
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't want to embarrass you, Miss Ellis. Were you wearing a bra that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Did his hands go on the inside of your bra or the outside?
On the inside.
So were his hands touching the skin of your breast at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he saying anything to you whenever he did that?
No.
What happens next?
Then we started to go downwards in front of he put his hands inside my pants and felt between my legs.
Okay. And whenever he put his hands inside your pants, were you wearing underwear on that date, Miss Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Did his hands go on the inside of your underwear?
Yes, ma'am.
And what part of your body did they touch, Miss Ellis?
He touched my vagina.
Okay. Was he saying anything to you whenever that happened?
No, ma'am.
What happened next?
He told me to have a seat in the police car.
Where did you comply?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you sit in the police car?
In the back seat.
Was the door shut during the time or open or something different?
It was open at that time.
Okay. What happened after you took a seat in the car?
He told me to put my feet in and he closed the door. And then he got into the driver's seat.
Okay. And was he talking to you when he got in that driver's seat?
Yes.
What was he saying?
He was said was going to run a check. I told him that I had warrants.
Okay. Did he run a check?
Yes, he did.
What did you hear or see whenever he ran this check?
He ran the check. He typed my name in and he was looking at my record.
Okay. Could you see him looking at your record?
Yes, ma'am.
What was he looking at it on?
He was just looking at what my charges was because I told him that I had city tickets.
Was it on a computer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did he use a radio while he was in the driver's seat?
I don't recall.
Okay. What happened next?
He got back out the police car after he found out that I had warrants. And he opened the police car, the back seat where I was, and told me to put my feet out. And
Let me stop you there, Miss Ellis, so I can understand. He told you to put your feet out of the car?
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you put your feet out of the car?
I just, turned around like you getting out the car. And my feet was on the ground right there.
Okay.
And he asked me, what do you think we need to do about this situation?
What was going through your mind whenever he said that?
I asked him, what does that mean? What do you mean?
What did he say?
And he said it again. And I just asked him again, what do you mean what we're going to do about this situation?
Did he answer you?
Nope.
What happened next?
Well, by the time I looked up, his penis was in my face.
Did he undo his pants and take him down, or how does his penis get exposed?
It was unzipped. Unzipped it.
Okay,
His
was his penis erect?
Yeah, I don't recall if it was or not.
Did he say anything to you
God.
after he took his penis out of his pants?
I don't recall.
Give me a break. You know, if somebody puts a flaccid penis in your mouth or a
No
hard
kidding.
penis in your mouth, are you kidding me?
Jesus.
Would you? How? Come on, man.
Well, and just a quick note to insert during the interview, it was a very awkward moment when Kim Davis asked her, how did he tell you, how was it that he told you to put his penis in your mouth? And she comes back with this really something like, he said, here, put this in your, and I was like, I remember every time I listen to that, I think, well, that's a weird thing that even in an assault or even in a real romantic or get down kind of situation, there's somebody saying, here, put this in your mouth or put it in your mouth, or I mean,
Put it in your mouth.
It just and that's
Rock-
what she said during the in-person interviews. It was a really awkward moment, in my opinion.
Here,
like
let me
Rocky
hand
saying.
you this.
That's
I
like
want you to
Rocky saying.
put it in your
That's like Rocky saying, did he put it up? Like he's putting away, kitchen utensil or something.
Yeah. And this
Did
is
he
all
put it
very
on?
awkward also. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Well, okay, she doesn't know if his penis is erect. She
Right.
doesn't know if he ejaculated in her mouth or inside her.
Or
Right.
what skin he's got.
She walked
And
away. I mean, like
by the
if he
time she looked
ejaculated
up,
in her mouth, wouldn't she know?
he had
There's
told her to
something.
put her feet outside. And by the time
Yeah.
she looked up, his penis was in her face. I mean,
Yeah,
She was standing up and he just stuck it in.
from
Right.
behind. Yeah,
I
in her
also
vagina.
read this as we're going through that. This sounds practiced.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah, about
Yeah.
the feet in and out of the
Yes.
car.
Everything. It's rehearsed.
Yeah.
yeah. Just go back and listen to episode 8 in Bates' podcast, and of course episode 9, which I think is so informative. But just go back and listen and read the police report. It's all very different from then
Yeah.
to now.
Yeah.
And by this time, how many charges with her when it went to court?
It was
Man, I
several.
can't remember. He added 2,
And
so
then
there were at least 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably
But
4.
she couldn't identify.
I
But she
think there
couldn't
was
identify
5,
him.
4 or 5. Yeah, but she couldn't identify him, right? Yep.
Have to
Yep,
look at
that's
your
true.
little cheat sheet. Oh man, hey, there's a rainbow outside, Stacy. Check it out. Sorry.
So he said nothing to her, and his penis was there, and she just sucked it.
Yeah. Evidently.
He said, "Here, put this in your mouth."
Put this in your mouth. Yeah.
He said, "Here, take this."
You see this flaccid penis? Stick it in your mouth.
Here.
Well, she doesn't recall him saying anything in court.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
At
Changed.
trial.
It's infuriating. It's infuriating. The more we figure out the lies, I'm not even going to say inconsistencies, just flat out lies, the
Flat
more
out lies.
infuriating her case is.
Yep.
62
I
fucking
agree.
years, man. Okay. Whenever you
Are we
guys
on
ready.
4?
Line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he say anything to you after he took his penis out of his pants?
I don't recall.
What happened next?
I sucked his dick.
Was that something you thought you had to do?
Yes.
Why?
Because I had warrants and he should have just took me to jail.
So, and I don't want to embarrass you, Miss Ellis, but his penis was inside your mouth.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Nostril. God.
Oh my God. Did he say
Yes,
anything
ma'am.
to you whenever that was happening?
No.
What happened next?
He told me to put my feet back into the police car and close the door. And he got in the driver's seat.
What happened then?
He drove down a dead-end street, hopped the curb, went around to an abandoned school.
Do you know where that abandoned school is at, Miss Ellis?
Yes.
Can you tell me the approximate area?
Who first called that an abandoned school? Gigger? Or
Probably
was it,
Rocky and Kim in the police
yeah.
reports, but
Just she didn't call it that in her prelim.
no.
I
Well,
Gigger.
they
Gigger called it
solicited
that.
that testimony from her. She didn't bring those
did.
words out.
Yeah.
They did. So she learned that well.
Yep.
Yeah.
She said it was a closed down school, and Gigger says closed down abandoned school.
Yeah.
Okay, line 2. Yes.
Can you tell me the approximate area?
It's right around the corner from where I used to stay off of Highland and Miramar.
And once you got to the school, what did he do?
He told me to get out. He got out the car and he opened the back seat door and told me to get out.
And Miss Ellis, if you've told me, I apologize, but what did his car do whenever he got to this abandoned school?
What
That's a
did
weird
it do?
question. Yeah.
What do you mean? No kidding.
Did he where did his car go to?
Oh, it took a drive down the road, came back.
Jesus.
Hell. It went to the side. It went off the curb. He pulled on the curb, drove over the curb, and went around to a little section right here behind the school where some trees and stuff at.
Okay. Was it in a grassy area?
Yeah.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may approach.
Miss Ellis, I'm handing you what's marked as State's Exhibits 272, 277, 278, and 284. Will you take a look at those and tell me if you recognize them?
Yes.
You do recognize them?
Yes.
Are they pictures of the area this officer took you to?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state would move to admit State's Exhibits 272, 277, 278, and 284.
No objection.
All right, state exhibit number 272, 277, 278, and 284 will be admitted.
Miss Ellis, I'm showing you States Exhibit 272. Is that the area where this officer first stopped you?
Yes.
The area where he put his penis in your mouth?
Yes.
And then I'm showing you States 277. What do we see in that exhibit?
Where he hopped the curb at.
Is this the curb right here?
Yes.
Okay. And is that the abandoned school area that you were just telling us about?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm showing you 278. What do we see there, Miss Ellis?
Where he drove around, where he hopped the curb and he drove away. He drove around on the way to the side of the building.
Okay. And Judge, if I may have her show the jury how he drove in this exhibit, can she exit the witness stand briefly?
All right, ma'am, you can step down. Speak very loudly when you answer the assistant district attorney's questions.
And Miss Ellis, I'm going to have you stand right over here to the side of the TV. Will you show the jury how the officer drove?
Okay. This is the curb right here. He drove and he drove here. And then this is not the building. It's another building right here. He went around that building.
So he went in this direction?
Yes.
Okay, you can have a seat. Thank you. And I'm showing you States Exhibit 284, Miss Ellis. Is that the other side of that building that you were just talking about?
Yes.
And is that where the officer parked his car?
Yes.
What happened after the officer parked his car there?
He got out his car and he opened up my door. I was in the passenger side. He told me to get out and told me to pull my pants down.
Did you pull your pants down?
He told me to pull my pants down.
Okay, and then what happened?
Then he had sex. He put his penis inside of me.
In your vagina?
No audible response.
How were your bodies positioned whenever that happened, Miss Ellis?
Standing up.
You had told me that you had gotten out of the passenger or
At the back seat of the police car.
Okay. Were you standing or sitting down?
I was standing up.
Were you facing away or toward the patrol car whenever this happened?
I was facing toward the police car.
And where was this officer's body positioned in relation to yours?
Behind me.
Okay. Did he say anything to you during that time?
He didn't say anything.
What happened next?
He got finished. He told me I was free to go.
He told you were free to go?
What?
No audible response.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. And did you get back in the patrol car at that point?
No.
What did you do?
Took off walking.
And did you see what this officer did?
I wasn't even paying attention.
Where did you walk to?
I walked between the buildings of the school and did a big U-turn and went back home. That
Okay.
doesn't make sense, does it?
If she
No.
did a U-turn, she'd be walking right back towards him.
Yeah. And her house is in the other direction.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so if she walked, where she say she walked? between the
buildings.
I walked between the buildings of the school, did a big, so she was back by that tree. She
I'm gonna
walked
try to find a
toward the
picture of it.
buildings. Okay, so she was gonna exit. She did a U.
On
She's saying,
Miramar?
yeah, exactly. She's saying she did a U-turn around the buildings and came back and exited the same way Daniel did onto Miramar.
Yeah.
Okay. To where you were living with Terry Mack?
Yes.
And did you tell anyone about what had happened with this officer?
Told Terry when I got home.
Did Terry encourage you to report what had happened?
Why don't you just
Yes, he
testify?
did.
Why don't you just get in the seat and testify for her?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Did you?
No.
Why not?
Because at the time me and Terry was having problems in our relationship, and I had met somebody that I had been with.
Okay, you had met someone who you were having a sexual relationship with?
Yes.
And what was that person's name?
Edwin Smith.
And why did that make a difference to you in whether or not you were going to report?
Because I had been with him earlier that day.
Did you tell Terry Mack that?
Yes, I did.
Did that cause your relationship with Terry Mack to end?
Pretty much.
Did you say pretty much?
Pretty much.
Did you tell Edwin Smith about what had happened?
Told him a little while after that.
Did you tell the police at that point?
What?
Did you tell police at that point?
Did I tell police?
Uh-huh.
Uh-uh.
Why did you not tell police?
Because I didn't know what the police gonna do. I was scared. I didn't feel like being harassed by anybody. I just it's a nightmare, and I just didn't want anything to have to worry about me walking down the street and getting harassed by anybody.
Okay. This officer who had stopped you, had you ever seen him before to your knowledge, Miss Ellis?
No.
Well, describe to me what that officer looked like on the date that you came into contact with him.
He looked like he was a black man because it was dark. And I really wasn't trying to get any eye contact because at the time I didn't know whether I was going to go to jail or anything. And when he did this, I just really wasn't really trying to look at that man.
Oh my
I just
God.
hoping that it would be over.
What else about his appearance did you notice other than the fact that you said he looked like a black man?
He was heavy built. He was built.
Like a muscular build? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
What else?
That's all I recall.
Was that the first time that you told police about what happened between you and this officer whenever you talked to Kim Davis in August?
Yes, ma'am.
May I have a brief moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Ellis. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Cross-examination.
So nothing about his height.
Nope.
Yeah, that just completely got glossed over, and her saying that he looked like a black man when you
Because it was dark.
because it was dark. When you listen to her phone interview, she says, like, full stop, it was a black man.
He was a black
Period.
man. Yep.
He was a black man. And then she does her in-person interview. He was a black man with skin toned color darker than her own.
Right.
This
Yep.
testimony is so much bullshit. And you're right. They glossed over his height.
Mhm.
And the state knows it. It's just
Of
lies.
course. Of course. So infuriating.
It really is.
Okay. All right. Y'all can start whenever you want to.
Okay. Miss Ellis, you testified that when you first talked to the Oklahoma City Police Department about this incident, you would agree with me that they came to you. You did not go to them.
Yes.
Okay. And whenever you were first, there were several attempts to make contact with you, but it's my understanding that eventually one of the detectives got on Facebook and was able to make contact with you on Facebook.
No, sir.
Okay. You don't recall any messages you received from any Oklahoma City detectives on Facebook?
No, sir.
You would agree with me that the first time you talked to them in August of 2014, that the police officers, regardless of how often they tried to get a hold of you, they did get a hold of you in August of 2014.
Yes.
And when they contacted you, they told you they were investigating a sexual assault on you by an Oklahoma City police officer.
You're asking me a question?
Yes?
No, they didn't say it like that. She didn't say. She said, was there an incident that happened with a police officer?
Did they tell you that they had a tip that you were assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall these questions being asked and these answers being given while you were under oath at the preliminary hearing in this matter? Page 297, question, line 9. And they told you that they had a tip that you were assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer. Answer, yes, sir. Do you recall those questions being asked and those answers being given while you were under oath?
I don't recall. I don't remember that.
Do you dispute that, in fact, while you were under oath on another occasion, that's what you testified?
No, I don't dispute it, but I just don't remember.
In any event, the officers, after notifying you why they wanted to talk to you, you've identified an officer. You said that did assault you, but you identified it as a black male, correct?
Yes.
You also identified that officer as shorter than you, correct?
Yes.
And I believe that you're about 5'11", correct?
Yes, I am.
Now, what had happened is you're under your version of events, you say back in May 7th of 2014, you were walking in this particular neighborhood, correct?
Yes.
And you say that the officer pulled up on you, public street, correct?
Yes.
And started at about, what time was it?
I'm not recalling. I don't recall. It wasn't very late. It was before midnight.
For not when, and you were walking alone.
Yes.
And the officer approached you and asked you what you were doing.
Yes.
And asked you if you had any narcotics, or did you know where, it didn't ask you anything. He just did what?
He asked me what was my name, and I told him my name, and then he asked me, and I told him off that I had city warrants. I told him this.
Where were you coming from?
I was coming from my house.
And where were you headed to?
I was headed to my cousin Dion's house.
And your house was Mr. Mack?
Yes.
Let me read that again. And at your house was Mr. Mack?
Yes.
Okay. In any event, after the officer, he did run you for wants and warrants, correct?
Yes, he did.
And after he ran you for wants and warrants, you did have some Oklahoma City warrants out for your arrest, correct?
Oklahoma City tickets. Yes, I did, sir.
And you had just recently gotten out of prison, correct?
A year before that, yes, I had.
And you'd gotten out of prison for burglary?
Yes, I did.
Had you also been convicted of assault with a deadly weapon?
Yes, I have.
You also lost your children due to testing positive for crack cocaine.
Objection. Relevance, Your Honor.
No.
I'm sorry, I can't see it.
Line 20.
20.
It's just all right.
All right,
You deny that?
come up.
Objection as to relevance.
Your Honor, it also goes to her credibility if her children are testing positive for crack cocaine. It goes to her credibility if her children are testing positive for crack cocaine at the time of their birth.
All right, objection sustained.
Miss Ellis, how many children do you have?
I have 3.
And so you say that the officer approached you on this public street and that you had been released from prison. I think you testified in July of the year previous, correct?
Yes.
And then after you've explained to him that you had warrants, did you also have some discussions with this officer about whether or not you were aware of any drug houses in the neighborhood?
I don't recall that.
Could that have happened?
No.
Okay. Were you refusing to cooperate with the police officer or to talk to the police officer in public about your knowledge of drug houses in the neighborhood?
I don't even recall that, sir.
In any event, after you knew that you had warrants, you knew that you could be taken to jail.
Yes.
And you didn't offer to give the officer any information on known drug houses in the neighborhood for not going to jail. That's your testimony here today.
Yes.
Okay. In any event, what you say happened is that they're in the street, on the public street, and it wasn't very late, it's before midnight, that this officer had you perform oral sex on him while you sat in the patrol car, correct?
Yes.
And that happened for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. After that event happened, you testified that Officer Holtzclaw then drove you to a place behind the school, correct?
Yes.
And in the place behind the school, were you attempting to give him information without letting anyone see you?
No.
And you deny that?
Deny what?
You deny that you were giving him any information about any drug?
I didn't give him any information, period, sir. Sherry?
I'm sorry. All right, hang on. Let's make sure that he gets done with his question so you fully understand it.
I apologize, sir.
And I'll make sure he doesn't ask another one before you're finished.
Okay.
You deny the fact that you were attempting to give Officer Holtzclaw information about known drug houses in that community, correct?
What do you mean deny?
You deny the fact that you were giving Officer Holtzclaw information of where drugs could be purchased in that neighborhood.
No, sir, because when I got out of the penitentiary, I've been clean. I have not even did drugs. So he didn't have any reason to even ask me about any drugs or any drug houses. He didn't ask me anything about any drug houses or anything, sir.
How old are your kids?
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Come on up.
Your Honor, she just testified that she had nothing to do with drugs after she got out of the penitentiary. I know for a fact that her kids were taken from her for testing positive for crack cocaine during childbirth. I'm simply trying to get an age to see whether or not this is after she was out of the penitentiary or before.
That she what? Oh, sorry. Well, she said he didn't ask her about drug houses. I don't know that she said she didn't. She said she didn't use drugs since she's gotten out.
That she's what?
She said she didn't use drugs since she's gotten out.
That's what she said, and all I'm trying to establish, I don't know. I don't know the ages of her kids, and I'm trying to, because I know her kids, when they were born, were taken from her for testing positive for crack cocaine, meaning she was using drugs. And I'm trying to determine if her kids were, how old they are, and whether or not they were born after she got out of prison or before.
I'll let you ask her if her kids were born after she got out of prison or before.
Your Honor, if I can have just 1 second, I'll be more specific.
All right.
Do you currently have an 8-year-old child?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and that 8-year-old child, may I approach Your Honor before I ask any further questions?
Yes.
Your Honor, what the report says is that her child was 7 and tested. The report is kind of hazy, and I can show it to the court if you want me to. It says the child was 7, but it was taken, I think, at birth because of tested positive for crack cocaine. However, she tells the officers that she still occasionally uses crack cocaine in the report.
Tells Davis that she still uses crack cocaine.
Do what?
Tells.
Sorry, Scott Adams is wrong here. Just saying.
I said tells.
Yeah, it tells Davis, Detective Davis.
Okay, well, you can ask about that, but not about 7 years ago and the child.
Okay. Now, whenever you had this interview with Detective Davis in August of 2014, you told her that you used marijuana and crack cocaine, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, going back to the events behind the school, you deny the fact that you were giving any information about any drug houses. However, you say that Officer Holtzclaw sexually assaulted you there at the location that's depicted on the screen, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. After that happened, what, and how long did that last?
It lasted about 5 or 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes. After that event happened, under your scenario of events, you're saying that Officer Holtzclaw just drove off and left you there, correct?
I didn't say that, sir.
Okay, then tell us again. I don't want to misstate it.
He said that I was free to go.
Okay, you were free to go.
That's what he told me.
So did he drive off at that point in time?
When he did that, he said I was free to go. I was upset. When I took off walking around the building, I kept on going. I never looked back. But you did a big U-turn.
Yeah, that's what 15 minutes ago you were doing a big U-turn. While you were saying that he was having sex with you, did he ejaculate?
I don't know.
Okay, could he have?
I don't know.
Was he wearing a condom?
I don't know.
Did you ever look for one?
I have no idea.
Okay. You say that happened after he told you you could go. You went home and you saw your common-law husband, Terry, correct?
Yes, I did.
And that you supposedly told Mr. Mack what had just occurred, correct?
Yes, I did.
And while you were telling this to Mr. Mack, he encouraged you say, to report this to the police, correct?
Yes.
But you didn't.
Nope, I didn't.
Okay. And you didn't report that to the police for what reason?
I didn't report. I didn't report anything to the police, sir.
Why did you not report? If what you're saying is true, you were just sexually assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer who could have ejaculated in you back in May of 2014.
Because one thing is for sure, I live in that neighborhood, and I know that I was not trying to get harassed by anybody. I didn't know if he was going to come back and try to do anything to me again. I didn't know if my life was in jeopardy. I did not know. I was scared. And plus, I had a boyfriend that I had just had sex with a little while before that. Because me and Terry Mack was not sexual because he had a stroke and he could not have sex. So our relationship was going downhill anyway. So when I got out the penitentiary, I found a boyfriend that I had been with for some months. And then we had been having sex. Me not knowing that I was going to get sexual assaulted on my way to my cousin's house, I had already had sex with him. That's why I did not go to the hospital, for one. And for the other, it's because I didn't want to get harassed. And I didn't want to get, every time I look around, getting stopped by a particular police that wants to do it to me again.
Okay.
So that's why, sir.
Miss Ellis, so it is your testimony that you did not report this to the Oklahoma City Police Department at the time it happened is because you were having a sexual relationship with an individual other than your common law husband on that particular day.
Because I had sex with another man, my boyfriend, which I'm engaged with right now to him. So.
But even after you told Mr. Mack that, you told Mr. Mack that you were supposedly...
Yes, I did, sir.
If you let me finish my question, I promise I'll let you finish your answer. After you tell Mr. Mack that he allegedly you were sexually molested by an Oklahoma City police officer back in May of 2014, he encouraged you to report it to the Oklahoma City Police Department, correct?
Yes.
You, at the time, also tell him that, well, you also had been seeing another man here in Oklahoma City, not the officer. You had sexual relations with him on that day, correct?
Yes.
Did you do anything whatsoever to try to preserve, since you didn't call the police, did you do anything whatsoever to try to preserve or keep any of the seminal fluid that you think may have transferred over to you?
No, I didn't.
Did you use any sort of rags or maintain your underwear or your pants or anything like that so they could be tested at some date to determine whether or not that what you're saying is the truth?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Is there a reason you did not do that?
No.
In any event, you and Mr. Mack eventually, have y'all still parted ways?
Yes.
Okay. And it was because of this other boyfriend, correct?
Yes.
Now, whenever you were first asked to describe the physical attributes of this individual, you're saying committed these acts with an Oklahoma City Police Department against you. This would have been August the 5th of 2014.
I don't recall what the date was.
Would you agree with me that it was in early August of 2014? Early August of 2014?
I guess, yes.
Okay. At that point in time, you described
May,
this
right?
Oklahoma... Yeah. Okay, at this point in time, you described this Oklahoma City police officer, and I think you testified earlier that he was a black man.
Yeah, that's what I said, sir.
Okay. And did that black man have any identifying marks that you recall?
I wasn't even looking at. I wasn't trying to look at him like that.
Okay. Well, whenever he was sitting in the squad car and he was running you for wants and warrants, he has a computer screen on, correct?
Yes.
Did you not see whether or not he was a white or black man at that point?
No, I didn't.
Well, you were able to see the computer screen, were you not?
Yes, I was.
and you were able to actually read what he was reading on the computer screen.
Yes.
At any time during that time, did you ever look to determine whether or not this individual that you're claiming sexually assaulted you was a white man or a black man?
No.
But in any event, when asked to describe the individual that you saw on that evening, you described him as a black man, shorter than you, correct?
That's what I said.
Now, at that point in time, or at that point in time that you were interviewed by the detectives in this case and asked about an Oklahoma City police officer who may have sexually assaulted you, had there been any news reports about Daniel Holtzclaw that you're aware of?
No.
And that he certainly had not been identified on any news channels at that point in time, correct?
I don't recall, sir.
It wasn't public knowledge at that point in time that you were approached by the detectives about being sexually assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer. His picture had not been plastered all over the news yet, had it?
I don't even recall it, sir.
You're agreeing with me that it had not.
No.
May I have just one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Any redirect?
Just 1 second, Judge, please. Miss Ellis, Mr. Adams asked you if you had seen news stories about this officer before you talked to Detective Davis. Do you remember him asking you that?
Yeah, just now.
Have you seen any news reports about this officer?
When?
Anytime.
Here lately?
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you seen news reports before this trial began?
No.
Okay. May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You can step down.
Well. Wow. They should have played that. Adam should have played that damn interview.
I don't know why.
No kidding.
I don't know why.
I mean,
none of
totally
the-
impeach her, you know?
Yep.
It doesn't make sense.
It completely destroyed her testimony.
62 years.
62 years.
62
God.
years for her.
Yeah.
I know which officer did this to you, Sherry.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've got a name, don't we? And a photo.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, I don't know about that, but that dude should have been definitely investigated.
No doubt.
I mean, just because he was a short black man, because the things against him hadn't come to light yet at the time of the trial. But, you know, just like when Terry Morris reported someone assaulting her by the city rescue mission, what did they do? They looked at the last officers that had contact with her, and then they looked at any officer whose GPS placed them in that area at that time. And had they done that, they could have done that with Sherry Ellis too. But instead, they just jam her into this traffic stop with Daniel, even though he's not a short black man. Because I think they know that she'll remember that stop because it was recent. And, you know, consequently, here's another victim who can help us hype up this rapey schoolyard abandoned school MO.
Yeah. So this is former officer Alexander Edwards, and he worked at the Spring Lake division, just like Daniel, and his patrol area, I believe, was just a few blocks north of where Daniel's area cutoff was. And I mean, again, there's no proof at all, number one, because they didn't investigate Alexander Edwards. There's no proof that he, was even a suspect, because he clearly wasn't. But it's just, I guess, that's suspicious to me. But then, when you look a couple of years after Daniel's convicted, this same officer was terminated by OKC Police Department, Spring Lake Division, for having had, sexual relations with different prostitutes, or a prostitute in particular that he got terminated for. We ratted him out. He was terminated for having sex with prostitutes in his patrol car while he was on duty, and giving up a vice sting that was currently being operated on prostitution in Oklahoma City. So,
But he wasn't charged with anything.
Yeah, he was.
he was,
Oh, he
and
was.
he pled guilty. Yeah, he pled guilty,
And did he go to prison?
no. There's very little information on Alexander Edwards. A little bit more than with Jeff Sellers, but very little information about Alexander Edwards in the news.
Brian Bates has a video of him coming out of his hearing at the Oklahoma County Courthouse. He's standing by the elevators talking to his attorney and realizes that Bates is recording him, and his attorney rushes him into the elevator to get away from Bates.
Wish Kathleen would have showed her a picture of him during her depot. Is this the guy?
Yeah, for real. Jim Hankins did her deposition, Sherry Ellis's, but they still never showed her a picture, to my knowledge, of Alexander Edwards. So.
No. Yeah, that never happened. Oh man.
So that's it. That's pretty much the preliminary and the trial testimony of Sherry Ellis. And like I mentioned,
during this trial testimony, they didn't ask her to identify him, did they? In court.
Not in trial.
Oh yeah, they didn't in trial. I guess because she couldn't at prelim.
Oh my God.
But wait, so when does the testimony come in? The first time that she saw him was at trial. The first time that I saw who they said did this to me was at trial.
That was the deposition.
Well, right, it was deposition, but what is she referencing from trial?
Well, she had
she figured it out, I'm sure, after he got convicted.
Yeah.
It was all over the news at that point.
I wonder if she had ever had a trial before. She probably took a plea bargain with her stuff. Usually people know about defendants are sitting beside the defense attorneys at the defense table.
Right.
I mean, usually hey, look all around the courtroom. Can you see everywhere?
Well, stand up if you need to.
Do you see the defendant in the far back corner of the courtroom anywhere?
Jesus.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh God, it's just so sickening.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
you know, when she's crying in her deposition,
Uh-huh.
first I thought, oh, she's just fake crying. But now I wonder if she realizes that she helped with her false testimony, that she helped send a man to prison for her part for 62 years. She's
Yeah.
That's what I
responsible for that.
that's what I think. But
And
you know,
and she knows that that traffic stop was respectful. Um,
right.
you
Right.
know, he didn't rough her up or force her to do anything. He did what his stupid police department trained him to do, which were Terry stops.
hmm
Um,
You know, Adams also did not make a point of how much shorter she said this guy was.
mhm,
I mean, it's a lot. It's significant
that's right.
compared to Daniel. It's
And the trial it
very
becomes
significant. And all he
it
said
trial
was he was
becomes
shorter than you.
that trial becomes a muscular man.
Well, she
She
always
didn't say that.
said he was. She always
She
said he
did?
was muscular.
Heavy
Yeah.
muscular. Heavy
Yeah.
muscular.
Okay. I forgot that.
Yeah, she said that in the beginning, that he was muscular. But
Jack,
he
he's
was
heavy muscular.
6 inches shorter than her. That's 5'5", 5'6". And Daniel's what, 6'2"?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's significant. That's 8 inches difference.
Well, it's that 8-inch curb,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
standing on an 8-inch curb.
Did you ever measure the curb? I know they weren't 8 inches. But like, was it what, 3/4?
I think it was 3 inches
Oh, wow, less than
or
half.
4. It was.
You know, Adams also didn't ask her about how does a man put a penis in you when you're standing up from behind you?
I
How
know
does that
that
happen?
doesn't make any sense. You can't do that.
No.
And it just popped out again when, through his compression shorts and whatever, short stays.
And if the guy was 6 inches shorter than her, that doesn't work either.
Yeah.
Yep. All very suspect, for sure. And I think Kim Davis's testimony next week will be frustrating as hell, but interesting. I just can't.
No, lie.
Yeah. And the way
All
she
the
speaks
lies.
is just so cringy, and words that she uses and things like that. It's just really, maybe I'm just so over her that she can't even breathe without me criticizing it. I don't know, but
I wish we had her actual video trial testimony. I'd like to see her mannerisms.
Uh-huh.
Did they film this trial?
No,
Really?
they didn't.
Wow.
No.
no,
That is
and
not
risk all that
surprising at
and
all.
risk all that transparency. Are you kidding?
No kidding.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Do they ever film trials in Oklahoma?
Yeah, I know they do now because I've seen some probably more recent ones, at least excerpts.
Trying to think what Oklahoma trial that I know was filmed. I can't really think of one. That doesn't mean anything, though.
Whoops.
They're too dirty.
I'm going to try to share this. Let me see if I can share this screen here. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I don't know if I can.
That was a good point that Adams made. You know, while she's sitting in the back seat looking at the computer, you don't think she noticed what this guy looked like?
Of course, she's sitting right there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of light in the car.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't try to look at him. Somebody that's assaulting you, you're not going to get a physical description of who they are?
Just
Really?
Okay, there it is. Let me. This might be the best I can do for size, but here we go.
Oh,
What she
sorry,
said.
I'd back that up. This is the Ellis area traffic stop. It's her perspective. She's walking down Highland here from 16th. He actually stopped her
Tiny
in
streets.
the block before 18th Street, between 17th and 18th Street.
All these houses. It's just all houses.
Uh-huh.
It's a neighborhood.
Yeah, he stopped her right here. The house on the right there with the carport. When I was in this area a few times, the lady came out to see what I was doing. She just said hello and was real friendly, but she was seeing what I was doing in her neighborhood, getting out of the car, measuring the curb. See that 8-inch curb right there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Right.
It looks like it's barely a curb.
I see we need to
Oh,
talk
yeah, there
about
she
some
is.
There she
fishing
is.
stories. So I can see we need to talk about some fishing stories here.
And
And
didn't the stop actually happen like at 1 a.m., right around 1?
it was around 1.
Yeah, according to the AVL, it was, I believe, the first contact came at 12:58 and some seconds. But certainly the stop where he's idle for 10 minutes wasn't until 1:03 to 1:08. So, and those of us who've been to that area last summer, I just think it's really, I don't know, I just think I would be able to walk that distance in a lot faster than nearly an hour, or but that's neither here nor there. It's nitpicking, I suppose, but just seems
I think she just got off on her time.
yeah, it could have just. She's very consistent with that, though, that it was before midnight. That's the same in every version.
Well, the actual assault probably was, by the short black guy.
Very possible.
Yeah. Yep, very much. So, yeah, that's the really, I don't know, to me, the more I know about, the more I've learned about Sherry Ellis's specific case. It's all pretty bizarre to me, her whole story. And I think the more I listened to and, paid really close attention to Brian Bates's, wrap up of her story in episode 9, it really was a lot dirtier than what I ever just thought I knew before. So,
It's a good episode.
It's become one of my favorites, to be honest with you. So yeah, I just when you realize how he broke down the knots per hour and like literally minute by minute, AVL hit by AVL hit in episode 9, that how he breaks it down and how it's measured, and how he took the time to go out and measure the time and distance, throughout that little park area. The state didn't do that. and you're gonna it's going to get called into question during Kim Davis's testimony next week when we go through her testimony. You know, there's going to be questioning by Scott Adams about what she did or didn't do to, you know, be more exact about what happened during that time period. And to me, I think it kind of proves that she's full of shit, and that Sherry Ellis's story is full of shit. Honestly, by listening to Scott Adams' cross-examination, I'm certain, based on what Brian Bates, you know, provided to him before trial or before the cross. So that's kind of where that's at. That's kind of where we'll leave it. And I just, you know, I go around real quick and ask the panel if they have any final comments or something you want to share real quick, and then we'll be done and get out of here. So we'll start with Jack.
Well, nothing too pressing. Back on this weekend. We took a weekend off. So back on with reading with the crew on Saturday. And Doc's got some more slides prepared that I'll be getting ready. And then Sunday, we're going to jump back into queso dispatch calls, continue where we left off. Pretty much all I've got.
All right. We'll be back on it this coming weekend.
Yep.
Thank you, Jack. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, as always, I'm looking forward to sharing the Kim Davis's part of the Sherry Ellis testimony next week. And, you know, it's fun. It's not fun. It's interesting to just show how stupid these detectives are.
Right. I agree.
Anyway,
All right.
that's all I got.
Thank you, Kay. Thanks, Kay. Sherry?
Thank you. It was very interesting. I can't believe how short it was. It you know, for getting 62 years for her, it was pretty short. But
It was very short testimony. I agree.
Yeah, I would have expected more information or details we didn't get.
I mean, they didn't like do AVL and all that stuff at trial for
No.
her?
Well, they're going to talk about it more in Kim Davis's testimony.
Oh, yeah.
That's
You're right.
that's where
Okay.
we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting. So.
And the different ways they use AVL, depending on if the actual allegations match the AVL, are interesting too. Because sometimes they use these aerial maps or these animations. And I don't know. I still haven't figured out if the animation is to hide things or... Because every time you pull the AVL, you get different points.
Right. And I have, I've located all of the exhibits related to Sherry Ellis's case, as far as, you know, not AVL, because they didn't use any AVL pictures like we've seen in the past, like I've shown you on the white paper where I've gone through and marked the hit points. No, we don't see that as an exhibit.
Why not?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I think
because his car stopped at the entrance of the park, not over where she says she was raped.
Could very well be.
Could that be why they didn't show any?
And and the distance from when he picks up again over on Miramar. But Scott Adams is going to talk to her about it, but we're not going to see those maps. So, see if I can. I don't want to spend a lot of time looking for it, but
this all just makes me sick to my stomach.
I'll just
What
give you
they've
a,
done to Daniel.
I think I
Yeah,
can
no.
pull it up right here from my, let's see if it's in here. Yeah, it is. So, okay, we don't see, this is from her police report. Let me share the screen here really quick. And I'm just going to flip through them, kind of, let me get back to the very beginning. Okay, so this is this is one I've really spent a lot of time on. This is a regular AVL map that we see regularly, right? So I put in green. So I was almost certain this was going to have been shown during the trial because of they took his entire shift, AVL from what it looks like his entire shift. And so what I did was I just put in green what involves just her stop, her area of where she was stopped. And I just kind of marked everything. And I started, wow, I'm having a hard time figuring out my directions here. I started to put in the actual times. This is where 1:03:13 a.m. to 1:08:14 a.m. They show zero speeds. These two bigger dots. It's bigger. These two bigger red dots are where they were stopped, where it was legitimately stopped.
And that's the supposed oral sex.
Oral
Yes.
oral assault took place there. And so, and I didn't get done to, to get everything that was going on over here. But if you look here where at 1:14, at 1:14:15, he was at 9 knots. And at 1:14:28, just a little over, 13 seconds later, he's at 2 knots. But then we don't see anything until, again, according to them, until 1:18:27 when he exits over here on Miramar. So again, I'm still trying to figure this one out, but anyway, we don't see anything like this during the trial. Those are not a part of an exhibit. I think this might have been an exhibit on Highland.
And if that wasn't part of the trial, how do you have the AVL?
It's in her police report.
Okay.
The AVL, yeah, this is in her police report. But they didn't use that at trial. And so, like Kay said, I want to know why. Like, this is part of the trial. I think this was an exhibit, but I'm still working on it. So I'm going to see what I can find out. Now in the exhibits, they're not even as clear as what you're seeing here in the police report. We don't even get that clear of a picture in the trial exhibits. This is what you get to see, although it's much, much smaller in the exhibit. This is what you get from the state in exhibits at trial. So that and some of those other black and white.
If Daniel were actually doing that sort of thing, you would think he would go between those two buildings in that rapey abandoned schoolhouse instead of exposed to Miramar Street and houses. And
right, but his car didn't stop over there at all. So
yeah, I know.
Not even
I know. I'm just saying, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
Plus, it doesn't match the AVL.
Right. Yes.
Doesn't work for me.
You know.
What was that, Terry?
The AVL can be glitchy, you know.
Oh yeah.
Excuses for everything.
And I've said this before, if a program that you're using as evidence, as exhibits in a trial is glitchy, how can it be used? How can it be? You can't
Yeah.
Right? How can the court sanction it?
reliable.
That's right. It's got to be repeatability. It's got to be every time something works.
Yes.
Not, well, it's kind of glitchy, you know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. You know how this guy's, you know.
And Kim Davis says that. I don't know if she says that in Sherry Ellis's testimony part during Sherry Ellis's case, but I know she said it in other accuser cases that she's testified
Regina
in.
Copeland.
And Adams
Oh,
should have been
yes.
all over that. He should have been all over it.
I don't remember if he did address it, but he does kind of call Davis out in her testimony, the math, and why didn't she, why didn't you do these measurements in the park from the time he jumped the curb to the time he ended up on Miramar? Why did you, why
Yeah.
did you not do the math? And she's really pretty transparent when she says, I don't know the math to that. Well, then you fucking get somebody in the department who does and make sure that you get that shit right. But she doesn't. She doesn't.
I know
And
what
not
officer
technically.
did this to you, Sherry.
Yeah, it's definitely not techno, and apparently even less mathematically inclined than I am, which is really, really hard to say. So, all right. Oh yeah, that too. That she says that in the Michelle Malkin interview.
It was a
You gotta
pig.
remember, his car was a pigsty.
Oh
Who
God.
cares?
That's why there's no fingerprints on the outside.
Right.
Yeah, yep.
God.
No
the
DNA.
excuses.
So yeah, definitely a good one to look forward to for next week. Thank you to you guys for reading everything, and for everybody that's in both chats. Again, thank you, Jack, for streaming it on Foul Play, and for
Of course.
those who attended and watched over on Foul Play, and for everybody in the chat over here. Thank you guys for being here again and paying attention and listening. And I think until next time, we're going to say peace.